All right. We are live. Hello, my friend. Amner Hunter here from amnerhunter.com. Happy to be here spending some time with you on this video tutorial and also checking out this cool 3 free plugins by Analog Obsession that recently got an update. In this video, I am going to give you some audio examples of these plugins, analyze them a bit, their features, and of course show you some of my philosophies that I followed with these plugins that are of compression, saturation, coloration, and limiting. So let me know if you are here in the chat. I will be more than glad to read your comments and questions about these cool plugins by Analog Obsession. Before we begin with the content, I'd like to invite you to my website, amnerhunter.com, where I have some additional freebies. You can get some free PDF guides and ebooks for music producers and guitar players about music productivity, about how to mix a song using only free plugins, and how to make more music in less time. Additionally, I have some tools such as some collections of guitar impulses, a drum sample pack, among other utilities. And finally, don't forget to check out the blog or this channel, which I'm updating weekly with tons of free resources and content almost daily. So let's check out the updates first. This is the package by Analog Obsession, the NOS or NOS bundle that includes 3 cool saturation and compression plugins. First, the Tuba, the TuPre, and the Kolin. This bundle got an update, and all of these plugins are now available for AAX support, meaning for Pro Tools users. It has an resizable interface now and Apple Silicon support as well. So yeah, pretty cool. That's what the update it's about. Let's go to my DAW here on Reaper, where I have this mix. I think you haven't heard this mix here on the channel. Let's quickly run these plugins on this mix before and after to be able to hear the differences. And then we are gonna check out individually what I did to this mix using these 3 plugins.
I used to dance in my dreams. My mind shine bright, my scars run deep. Is there a point of no return?
After.
Another face people made. They were full of thought but lost their faith. A pretty face with concerns.
Right, these are the only plugins that I used. These 3 plugins across different tracks, and I am not using any other stuff, as you are gonna check out here in the mixer. All right, and as you can clearly hear, the mix without the plugins is a bit unbalanced, darker, and it lacks a bit of punch. And with the plugins, I achieved punch, more clarity, more brightness, and everything is more balanced. I'm gonna go through all of this. So first, let's see here what these plugins are all about. The Tuba, it's a mic preamplification plugin. It includes mic preamp and line preamp. So this plugin adds coloration with this level that you have here, and also includes 2 controls for equalization. With this, for high frequencies and for low frequencies, you can add or remove frequencies in a form of high shelf or low shelf as well. These are the only two type of equalizations moves that we can do, that we can make here. And you can choose the level of saturation as low or high gain saturation, right? And you have a pad of minus 20 decibels here, and also to flip the phase, and an output control. So that's pretty much it about this tuba. Let's continue with the other one. The next one, it's called TuPre, and it's also a preamp. It's not a particular emulation of any piece of hardware, but it has the coloration of a TuPre amplifier. With this gain control, you add saturation and coloration, and you have a couple also of knobs to add lows or cut lows, also to remove or boost highs. And you have an output control. If you click on the Analog Obsession logo, it turns off and on oversampling. That's pretty much it. And lastly, let's go to the Kolin compressor limiter. This plugin has two main controls, the input level and output level, and this is a compressor limiter that works in a same way as, for instance, the LA2A with a couple of knobs. So it compresses the signal based on the input that you introduce to the plugin here, and it starts compressing or limiting. So it's compression in a more aggressive way, right? But you still have a little bit of control over the attack here, fast and slow, and also control over the release. So this fast and slow release time. You also have a high pass filter for the side chain. If you increase this, you're gonna leave out of the compressor or limiter the frequencies that you set here. For instance, here 195 and below are not gonna be compressed, so it's side chained internally. You have a dry wet control, and you have also the option to add external side chain, but these two controls are the ones that are more important, right? The input and output. So let's go here first with the drum bus. Let's listen to it before and after. Before, after. Okay, let's start here with the drum bus, drum group. Here I used TuPre preamp, and I added a bit of gain. I also added some high frequencies because the overall drum sound was a bit darker. I added just very like 0.8 decibels of low end, very subtle, and I gain compensated with the output, right? And after that, I used the Kolin compressor limiter to control the peaks of the overall drum sound with a slow attack and the fastest release time. And let's see here. Okay, with the plugins engaged, adding more punch with this, and a bit of analog coloration, which is very subtle. By the way, the saturation, it's another form of compression, so I am like compressing in two stages here, first with the TuPre preamp and then with the other. Then let's move on here with the kick drum, what we have here. So I added a bit of saturation with the tuba, and I added also 3 decibels in the highs with this. I needed a bit of click. And then with the TuPre, I added more highs. Okay, so it can go through the mix a bit better. And then with the Kolin, compressing, right? Like 2-3 decibels of gain reduction with a slow attack and fast release time. Before and after. Here on this kick drum, I added more highs, even more highs, and removed a bit of the some low end. And that's the kick drum, the final kick drum that I have. Let's go with the snare here. Here on the snare, I added a bit of saturation with the TuPre, just like 4 decibels. I removed some of the low end that I don't need. The kick drum was bleeding into the snare microphone, and I cut, and then I also cut it highs because a lot of the hi-hats were bleeding into the snare drum. And then with the Kolin, I compressed to add more punch. And the downside of compression limiting is that you bring up the background noise, in this case the hi-hat. It's sometimes you need a gate for that, but in this case I am using only these plugins. Before, after. That's the snare only. And then here on the toms, well, the toms are not playing in this section of the song, but I did cut something with these plugins. I did remove some of the low end. Those are the tom microphones, and I removed bass low end because a lot of the kick drum was leaning into those microphones as well, and I just copy and pasted to the tom 2. And then on the overheads, I also used the TuPre to remove lows, because the kick drum, I needed this overheads to be more clean in the low end, so I removed with this TuPre. And then this is the overall drum sound that I have. Moving on with the bass guitar. The bass was very, very dynamic. It was jumping all over the place, and it was getting very, very quiet in some parts, as you will hear in a moment. And I used these 2 plugins. Let's listen to the bass without it. Cool bass sound, but some notes are getting lost, especially in the mix. So with the TuPre, I added quite a lot of saturation, 9 decibels, as you see here. And I added like some brightness, some highs. And with the Kolin, I compressed, limited heavily the bass guitar with a fast attack and a medium release time. And you can especially hear that detail at the beginning, that bass line. Let's hear it without the plugins. The notes were a bit dynamic, right? So with these plugins, the bass is more even. And then let's move on to the electric guitars. I have 3 guitar tracks here, rhythms. Very minor adjustments in the electric guitars. Let's see what I did. First, here with the TuPre, I added a bit of analog coloration, and then I removed a bit of bass, low end, that I don't need in the guitars. They will work better in with the bass guitar, and I added a bit of highs. And then with the Kolin, I just compressed very, very tiny the tiny amount the guitars. Let's check it out. Before, a bit darker, a little bit of brightness, and some small compression. Moving on with the vocals, I have a lead vocal and also a couple of harmonies, a low harmony, an octave lower, and also in another harmony that is in some parts of this. Let's check it out before.
I used to dance in my dreams, and while my eyes shine bright, my scars run deep. Is there a point of no return?
So here in the vocals, I am using the Tuba to add some brightness, 3 decibels here to the vocals, and also I am adding low gain saturation here. The saturation will compress the vocals, make it more even. And then I added a second stage of compression with the Kolin. I heavily compressed the vocals and they fit better together, the 3 vocals, and you can hear more all of the details of the vocals. Let's hear it before.
I used to dance in my dreams.
By themselves, that might work.
Shine bright, my scars run deep.
Without, but
is there a
in the
point
context
of
of
no
the mix,
return? I know the face people make when they were full of hope but lost their
9 decibels
faith.
of gain reduction.
A pretty face filled with concerns.
It brings up a lot of the detail in the vocals. Let's check out the full mix with before and after the plugins.
I used to dance in my dreams, and while my eyes shine bright, my scars run deep. Is there a point of no return? Another face people made when they were full of hope but lost their faith. A pretty face filled with concerns.
So yeah, that's pretty much it, my friends. Let me know down below in the comment section or here in the chat. What do you think about this plugins by Analog Obsession? I think they are great, and I love Analog Obsession plugins. Let me know if you have a favorite or if you use one of these plugins. I will be more than glad to know your opinions, or if you have any question, I also will be happy to answer. So before we go, I'd like to invite you one last time to my website, amnorhunter.com, where you can get some additional freebies, some free PDF guides and ebooks for music producers and guitar players, also some tools such as some collections of guitar impulses, a drum sample pack, among other utilities. And finally, don't forget to check out the blog or this channel, which I'm updating weekly with tons of free content. Thank you so much for watching this video, my friends. Thanks a lot for your time. I appreciate it. I will see you very soon in the next one. All right? Take care.